What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 13 of Procedurally Generated, the show about the random history of video games. My name is Chris Weber. I'm here with John Carson.
I'm John Carson.
Sorry.
I thought you paused to let me introduce myself, and then you just went ahead.
I did.
Did it, which, you know what? I'm fine with either. It's a grander introduction if we both do it.
That's right. You got your name said twice. I only got it once.
So just in case that doesn't line up, my name is John Carson. I'm
John Carson.
host of Procedurally Generated. Shoot. No one will ever know. Yeah. Hey, Chris.
Hi.
How's it going?
Feeling a little goofy tonight.
Chris, the finisher of games.
I am. This is all I'm known for now.
Just
I have the request
here and there.
That, now every stream I have to finish 2 games, and I don't think I can do it.
Well, your next stream you have to finish both Mario Galaxy and Sword and Shield, or Sword. Which one are you doing?
Well, I'm not doing. I don't know yet. We're gonna hold off on. Well, let's get everybody caught up first.
Okay.
So, yeah, I finished up Dragon Age Origins today, which I figured I would do. I knew I was at the very end. I knew I had the last section of fighting the Archdemon. I didn't know how long it would last, but I was like, I ended up going a little past lunch. I'm like, okay, I feel like we're close, and sure enough, we ended up wrapping it up. And that was great because the medium comes out on Friday, and I wanted to make sure that I was able to focus on that as it's a new game. So on Friday I'll be playing the medium. So this afternoon, shortened afternoon, I got into Remnant, which I'd been playing, and in my head, I was like, I'm probably halfway through this game. I got a lot of time left. I even said right before I started, I'm like, I was doing my schedule. Okay, we'll play this today. We'll play it tomorrow morning. We'll play it Thursday afternoon. Maybe we'll play it Friday morning and then do medium. I don't know if we even finish Remnant by Friday if we do it that way. An hour later, I was rolling credits on Remnant.
Yeah, so you had multiple people in the chat who were familiar with that game.
And, nobody tipped me off that I was going into the final boss fight.
I know you're being a little bit stronger on backseat gaming with that game, but man, you really set them straight. I didn't tell you when the game was ending. Yeah,
I was just doing what I was doing, and all of a sudden it's final battle, and I'm like, wow, what is it? What is this? What are you guys? What is this? I honestly thought I was halfway done with the game, so I was really shocked to wrap it up an hour later.
Watching you play that game, that's the most I've ever seen of it.
Okay,
and that game looks really clean. Visually it looks nice, but also the menus look really well designed, and
that
it
game
looks like they
is really good.
Yeah,
and
it looks like it.
I remember when it first came out, hearing people listening to podcasts, hearing a lot of people say really good things about it.
Uh-huh.
So I came into it with kind of pretty high expectations, but I tried to keep them in check because at the same time I knew this isn't a budget game. It doesn't carry the same stigma as a Dark Souls, as it's a Bloodborne or anything like that. It's a smaller studio. So while I had high expectations, I did maybe knock them down a little bit just for that reason. I wanted to make sure that I protected the experience.
Right.
And I'm having, after day one, I was pleasantly surprised, even barring the expectations that I set for myself. It was beyond those expectations by a ways. I was really, really surprised by the game. I enjoyed it, all my time with it. I had some help from the community that came in and pointed me in some directions to get me some armor that was really beneficial, a weapon that was super beneficial. So I had a good experience in that regard as well. A lot of helpful people that kind of steered me down the right path.
Right.
But it just made my experience all that much better. So I super, super liked my time with that game.
I know that game gets credit from a lot of people in the industry, but I feel like watching some of that, I don't think it gets enough credit. It's weird when you take the drop down from a AAA game to a single A or double A game these days. A lot of people just kind of skip over it. Even though people will recognize like the quality that's there. Like
Mhm.
it might not be something that people seek out as much. Um, uh, what is that? Do you know what that team's working on now? Or like they they just re-released Chronos Before the Ashes, which is a prequel. But that was also a game that was made before Remnant for VR stuff. Is it's Focus Home, right? Who
Uh,
did the publishing for that?
that I know the developer is Gunfire Games.
Gunfire, okay.
Um, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, let's see here. Remnant Chronos was December.
Yeah, Chronos was like early December, at least on current gen consoles. Oh, Perfect World was the publisher. Perfect World. That's right. Who
oh,
also has another game coming out soon that I am interested in.
these guys also did Darksiders 2 Definitive Edition and Darksiders 3.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I guess I did know that. I knew that Darksiders 3 had switched developers. So did
Interesting.
these? Okay, I don't see
Wow.
what's. I don't see
Live
what their
research,
next game
folks.
is. Yeah, on games we're not even covering this week, but well, I guess we're kind of covering it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so Chronos was their last release, and I don't. It doesn't look like they've announced anything that they're working on next.
Sure.
So
Cool. Well, I'm
yeah,
looking forward to whatever the heck it is.
yeah, for sure. And I'm actually I'm going to go back and add the DLCs to my list, so it may show up on stream again with some of the
Nice.
DLC
Yeah,
content.
I want to check it out at some point. Like you said that it's on Game Pass.
It is on Game
I
Pass, yes.
think I got it for free also through like Xbox Live or I know I have it through Epic
Yep,
as
it was also
well.
yep.
So it is available in a lot of places. And if you like kind of Dark Souls game design and you also like third person shooters, it's a nice mix of both.
Yeah,
Um,
and that's one of the things that made it stand out for me was that was the thing I think that I held it. What made me hold my expectations in check was the fact that it was a more of a third person shooter, and I don't typically care much for third person shooting mechanics.
sure.
This game felt super good in that regard. Like it's not changed my entire mindset on third person shooter games, but I was like, this is one of the best feeling third person shooters I've ever played. So
So, like watching you play it, it almost looks like this is kind of abstract, but it looks it kind of looks like a very clean Fallout, like a Fallout 3 or a Fallout 4, especially with like the armor that you had near the end. It looks like a bone version of the Brotherhood of Steel armor.
I think that'd be
Um
a kind of an apt comparison.
yeah, but also it looks like a Fallout with like good shooting,
Yeah, yeah.
with a good third person shooting
The
mechanic
combat
to it.
felt good. The one knock I think I had against it was while I love the boss fights are varied and the way it's designed is that it's procedurally generated. Hi-oh! Um, so no game like no two games are the same. You get through the way that it's set up. The bosses you run into, the items you pick up, it's all procedurally generated. So there's bosses that I haven't seen,
Oh,
but the bosses that I did
very
fight,
cool.
yeah, the bosses that I did fight were cool in design, and some of them had some interesting mechanics. The problem was the thing that drove me nuts was that every boss fight had a lot of ads, additional enemies that would pop up and just overwhelm you. So it
Yeah.
was a lot of instead of focusing on the boss, which I always feel like in these kind of games should be the focus. There were
Hmm.
so many things taking your attention away from the boss just to survive. So some of the boss mechanics and the uniqueness of bosses was kind of lost because you were being attacked by smaller enemies you'd been fighting for 20 minutes leading up to the boss fight.
Right.
Um, so I probably could have done with less of that, but that's really the only complaint I have about the game.
I mean, that's not too bad.
No, not really.
Uh, and then so you also finished Dragon Age.
Yeah,
What do you think about that overall?
that's a game that holds up 12 years later.
Yeah.
Um, I can't think of a lot of games from from that era, and that's a miss. It's a strange era for me because it's Xbox 360 is like basically kind of post nostalgia for me. I don't have a lot of
Right.
nostalgia for that generation of console, PS3 included.
Yeah.
There's a couple of exceptions here and there, but for the most part, my nostalgia kind of starts end of the PS1, even PS2 is kind of included in the PS3 generation, where I just don't have. There's some exceptions, but PS1 on is where nostalgia kind of kicks in. And then you go Xbox 360, Xbox One, I would consider still pretty modern. So it's kind of in that weird area where none of the games really, I don't have a lot of affinity for that generation of games. That being said, going back and playing Dragon Age, yes, it looks dated, but I
I
was
don't think it does.
I mean, the graphics do look a little old,
Sure, like
especially up close, kind of
things
playing.
look like they're running at like 720p sometimes. Like you could see the
Yeah,
jaggies for like when you're checking out your character and like equipping them with stuff. Like yeah, it does look a little bit muddy, a little bit pixelated, but I think once you're like actually moving around and doing stuff, I think it looks fine. That might just be that you're playing it on the Series X and it might be cleaning up some of that stuff.
yeah, that's true. It probably looks better than it would have if I wasn't on a, the Series X. But um, all that considered, though, I don't think I've played a game. I was thinking about this today. I don't think I've played a game that, because I made some poor decisions in the last 24 hours with that game that led to me
Uh-huh.
losing some characters I would rather have not lost. Um,
That just sounds like the end of a BioWare game from
yeah.
around that time. That's like Mass Effect
Well,
2
and I
in a
thought of Mass
nutshell.
Effect, and somebody made the point in my chat, and I think it's a valid one, where Mass Effect always kind of made you feel like you had the illusion of choice. And there were some changes that would take place, but it never felt really substantial.
Mhm.
The way that some of the stuff shook out in Dragon Age felt substantial. Like, I guess
Yeah.
I don't want to. I mean, I don't know. It's a 12-year-old game. I don't
It's a
really.
12-year-old game.
Yeah,
Talk
I guess
freely.
there's a point. I mean, the person we're pursuing and the person we are actively trying to. He's the main antagonist, other than the archdemon.
Yeah.
Um,
Which is just a dragon, right?
yeah, yep.
Okay, great.
The
It's the age of the archdemon.
right, the guy that we were chasing the entire game, in the last, I don't know, 20 minutes of yesterday's playthrough, I managed to recruit him to my party, frustrate
Oh.
the man who I've had on my team for the entire time, to the point where he left
Uh-huh.
and quit the Grey Wardens altogether. And
Yeah.
then I took Logain into his. Well, yeah, I took Logain into the final battle with me, and I'm just like, how did this happen, and why did I let it? Like, I should have
It's like
reloaded a save. I was like, what have I done? Um, but yeah, my entire
that's
world fell
great.
apart.
Oh, that's so good.
I felt like I was doing the right thing, and I was mad at Alistair for, like, no, you just do the right thing, like, understand, like, why, with the bigger picture. And he wouldn't do it, and he left, and I was like, fine, get out of here. And then it was
I have a new best
yeah,
friend.
Logan was in my party, like, I don't want you here either. And I like pouted the whole time.
I missed
But
that completely. That's great.
yeah, it was something.
Oh,
So, but what I was trying to say is 12-year-old game.
yeah.
I still like, I feel like it holds up well. It holds up very well. And I still think that if you've never played it, it's worth returning to, just to see what they could do with choice in that game, how it can affect you. There's
Yep.
characters that I could have recruited that I don't even know who they are. I recruited a dwarf, and every time I do my character select screen, it was like a group of, my crew, and then he was like 4 spaces away, kind of standing by himself, and I'm like, well, there obviously are characters there, and he's just
Yeah.
stuck in a corner by himself now.
What's the dwarf's name?
Or
Was it Varric?
no,
Oh, okay.
it was Oregon. I
Okay.
didn't use him very much.
Oregon Trail
Oregon
Oregon.
Trail, yes, Dysentery Joe is what we called him.
Uh, so I think it's interesting that that game specifically holds up. In that, like, most people probably played the console version of Dragon Age, but like that was very much a PC game that was ported to consoles. Um, and seeing that it holds up well on consoles still is pretty cool. Especially if people want to go back and play it with the new Dragon Age coming out sometime in the next 5 years, whenever
Right,
whenever
exactly.
things at BioWare actually start shaping up. Uh, yeah, I'm glad that you liked it. I'm glad that you had some shady choices go down. I
Right.
don't think it's a true first run at like a BioWare game from the mid 2000s to late 2000s without something that you didn't want to happening near the end of the game.
Yeah.
I'm glad that was still in there and still took you by surprise.
Yeah, I was invested. We'll just say that.
Good,
So,
good.
but yeah, having beat both those games today left some openings. So we started Super Mario Galaxy today, um, which was requested from Dragon D Dark.
Hmm.
And unfortunately, he was sleeping. He didn't even get to see it today, so he'll see it tomorrow.
Well,
Um,
now he gets to see it in like the prime of you actually getting used to the controls
that's right.
and
That's right. And the VOD's up, so he can check out the
yeah, 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 yeah.
VOD. But then other than that, like this week, I played the Resident Evil 8 demo.
Uh huh.
Super good. The
It
graphics look
is.
amazing. The lighting in that looks stellar. I'm ready for that game. I will play it. If I was on the fence before, I'm not now. In fact, Resident Evil 8, that demo reminded me of a game that we just talked about, and we asked for a modern take on it. Nosferatu.
Okay. Because
Um,
it is like a Victorian
yeah,
castle that you're in.
it's kind of that it's like almost feels like a timepiece. Um, it just
Yeah.
the atmosphere and the ambiance. I just like was like, well, ask and you shall receive, I guess. So I'm very eager to get into that more. I also played the Monstrum Nox Ease 9 Monstrum Nox demo.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's more ease.
I became a little less interested, I think, in that game. I'm not going
I
to play it day one, but it's going to go on the list to revisit some point. I think I just need more
yeah.
time between Ease 8 and Ease 9 to give it a fair shake.
I want to see if there are graphical enhancements because that demo sure didn't have them.
Yeah, that is
Because it
a
looks like it's running on like PlayStation 3.
pretty
Um,
bland looking game. Yeah.
but also like that's a game where if you take the action out of context, I feel like a lot of a lot of the appeal of that game kind of goes away. Like if you don't know like where you are or like who
Yeah.
your party is or like getting used to what everyone's skills are and like building up uh those abilities as you go, like I'm not getting like the real East experience. Um
I wish more
yeah.
games would do what Dragon Quest 11 did. Here's literally, it doesn't need to be this much
Oh,
because I
like the
thought it was
start of the
crazy,
game
but like
and
here's 10 hours from the
yeah.
beginning. I think that's the best way to know if you want to continue to play a game. Like,
Right.
I think you hit it right on the head. Like starting a game with like these super leveled up characters in an area you're unfamiliar with, fighting monsters you don't know why you're fighting them. Like it's just like, okay, I get it. I didn't need to see how Ease plays. I get how it plays. What's the setup?
Right.
Why am I here?
Right.
And it didn't answer any of those questions, which was kind of a bummer. So that's
And like
I
there's characters in your party you're like, I know your actual name, like why are you giving me like code names for everyone, like this is like Persona 5 or something.
right.
uh and also like that demo is weirdly timed, like
Oh
it'll
yeah,
just like end at random points, like oh it's done,
do
like
what you
I'll
want
get
for
to a boss and then like beat the boss and still play for like a few minutes afterwards and it's like thanks for playing the demo,
yeah.
like I
That's
didn't like get to a
strange.
certain checkpoint. Yeah, it's very odd, but I'm still looking forward to that game. Uh, but but yeah, I don't think that demo does it any favors, and I don't think it's going to bring anyone to the series. I feel like the best way to bring people to that series is actually just putting a full East game in front of them, and then just having them play through that.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean, Ease 8. I fell in love with the setting almost immediately and was hooked.
yeah,
I just can't. I don't know what that is in Monster Knox. So We'll see.
Right. Right.
But that's all I've been playing, which
Yeah.
you know, that's actually a healthier list than I would have thought at the beginning of the week.
It's pretty good. Well,
So
yeah. I mean, if you keep finishing games at the pace that you are.
I know we're gonna have 20 games to talk about next week.
Yeah. As usual, I don't have much to talk about this week for games. I don't know why. I spent most of my weekend watching all of Cobra Kai. So, I have watched all 3 seasons of that show. It's very good. I feel like they lose the plot on the kids a little bit because it's, I guess, to set the scene, it is a TV show sequel to the original Karate Kid movies. I don't know if the next Karate Kid is involved. They haven't really done anything with Hilary Swank flashbacks, or she hasn't been in it at all. But it follows God, what's his name? I can't think of his name now. He's the main character. His name's Johnny. He was part of Cobra Kai back in the movies. He was like the bad guy in the original movie, and now he's older. His life's kind of a mess, and he ends up reopening Cobra Kai to get his life back in order. And so, like, you get to know like all the kids that he's training, and that's like a lot of the first season, and him and his rivalry with LaRusso, who is the hero from the Karate Kid movies, and he's all successful and making money, and there are things that happen where they start to clash a bit, and LaRusso starts up his karate stuff again, and so there's like feuding karate dojos, but they're both like good guys, so like a lot of it's just like misunderstanding, but there's a lot of interplay between the kids, and like that's where the rivalry actually is. Like the kids start to cause trouble with one another, but there's like characters that are important in the first season that they kind of drop for most of the second season, who you'd think would be more important to the story, and then just dropped altogether for season 3. I don't think they handle a lot of the characters very well, except for the adults. The adults, like, they have all this history with the previous movies, and they kind of know the story arc that they want to do for the adults, which is kind of cool. But the kids are kind of a mess. But all of that's on Netflix. I think people should watch it. It's good. It's half-hour episodes. Probably don't let your kids watch it. I don't know. It's more.
Oh,
It seems like it's more like older teenagers and above
okay.
for people who that might be appealing to. There's a lot of cursing, a lot of violence. So, yeah, that's Cobra Kai. Otherwise, I played the tutorial for Hitman 3 last night, which I think is the tutorial from Hitman 1 and 2. Just kind of easing into that. I'm going to be playing more Hitman 3 this week. That's a series that I've never really been able to get into, but I really appreciate. There's a lot of cool flexibility and puzzle solving and humor, and it just seems like a lot of fun, but I've never really dove into it like I've wanted to. So that is going to be my plan for this week. Also, because you've wanted to borrow my Wii U, and my wife has never played Pokemon Snap. I booted up my Wii U last night and downloaded Pokemon Snap because they have a virtual console on that thing.
Yeah.
Which like paging through the eShop and all the virtual console stuff on Wii U makes me really miss virtual console. There's so many games I could just pick up on there for like $5 or $10 or $20. Like things that I would definitely play, especially on a portable like Wii U, that I just can't. Like I have to boot up this machine from close to 10 years ago that I haven't touched in 3 years. That I absolutely have to tie to a TV, or not necessarily, but like I have to have the console nearby to actually like play it on the gamepad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
wish
think that's. Yeah, go ahead.
We talked about it. I just, the fact that doesn't exist on the Switch. This Nintendo NES and SNES thing that they rolled out on the Switch, I am just woefully disappointed by, knowing that Virtual Console
Yeah,
exists. Yeah, it's just
there.
it's such a tremendous step backwards that maybe it would be awesome if something like Virtual Console didn't exist in the first place. But since it
Right,
does, it's just like, what are we doing? What are we doing here?
right. It's like you had this technology. You are obviously doing everything you did on the Wii U on the Switch. Uh,
Yeah,
save for like 5 games that haven't made it over yet. But like just being able to go in there and seeing like, oh, they have all the Mega Man Battle Network games. Oh, I could just download those for like $10 a piece. Like I can work my way through that if I want to. That's awesome. Or they just have like random DS games, which like you're gonna have like 2 screens on the touchpad, and that's fine. But like if you don't want to break out your 3DS and you want to play it on like a slightly larger screen or on your TV, you can do that. Um, yeah, they have a lot of cool stuff on there. They have the Wii games that we talked about back in like episode 2, the Project Rainfall games. They have, well, they have the Wii version of Xenoblade Chronicles. They
mm-hmm.
don't have what was the second one?
Is it the last story?
Yeah, they don't have the last story, I think. But they do have Pandora's Tower.
Okay.
They might have the last story. I might have to look again. But
Well, and this isn't just like a knock against Nintendo either. Like with PlayStation having its PlayStation Now technology,
mhm,
I would love to have a good reason as to why PlayStation's back catalog of PlayStation 1 games, PlayStation 2 games, PlayStation 3 games, PlayStation 4 games now
yeah.
are not more readily available across the board.
So I wonder if a lot of it comes down to licensing from third parties. Like obviously Nintendo could do whatever they want with their stuff. Sony could do whatever they want with their first party catalog.
Right.
But you're maybe not going to get all the Square stuff. Which is what I would want on there, like Capcom stuff. They're gonna repackage their own things for whatever anniversary collections they want to do. Uh, Capcom has like an arcade collection coming out on Switch soon, where you just purchase the game separately instead of doing like a virtual console thing. Like, I guess maybe Nintendo's leaving it up to different uh, different publishers to make that decision for themselves if they want to release stuff or like remake or remaster. But I feel like having a Nintendo or Sony led initiative to get these things onto modern consoles would probably be it would probably make that stuff happen faster.
Yeah.
uh and for the cases where people are doing this stuff, it would be at the forefront. Like they would have a section to go to. That's these are the retro games that you remember from when you were a kid. This is our nice, neat package for them. Find them here, buy them here, play them here. Whatever their deal is going to be for it. But it's such a missed opportunity for this generation, especially more specifically, I'd say for Nintendo currently.
Yeah.
Sony is they definitely need to get uh, PS1 and more PS2 games up and running on PS4 and PS5. They have some PS2 stuff on there, but it's very select cases.
Yeah. The Dark Clouds. Um,
The Magna Cartas of the world.
Blue Stinger, I think, is on there. I don't know.
Blue Stinger is that's a Dreamcast game.
Is it?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Never mind. That one's probably not on there then.
It's probably not on there, but we would love it if Blue Stinger came. Let's get some Hassie going. I think
Sega,
Hassie's
why
from
don't you
that.
have all your stuff on your oh, wait.
Oh, let's get that Dreamcast 2 out there.
There we go.
Actually, to be fair, Sega's been releasing a lot of their Dreamcast stuff on PC for years.
That is true. I'm a man who just bought the not Dreamcast, but the Master System
collection.
and Genesis collection of like 60 games. So,
but they also have like Sonic Adventure and Crazy Taxi and a whole bunch of their other arcade / Dreamcast games that have just been ported to PC. So a lot of that stuff is available in other places. Sega definitely has a benefit of being a third-party publisher now and not a console holder, so they don't have to they don't have the obligation to keep all their stuff corralled in one place.
Yeah.
And it really, I mean, when it comes down to it, no one has that obligation. They could put their stuff out anywhere and probably should at some point. Just for ease of use for consumers, especially for super old stuff. Like, sell it for whatever price you want. People will buy it. Like, just make it available. That's all we're really asking.
Yeah.
Make weird Game Boy Advance games available. Make Henry Hatsworth on DS available for me to download on my Switch. I think that'd be pretty rad. Anyways, that's just my little rant on virtual console stuff. It's been kind of top of mind for a lot of people this weekend. Saw some people talking about like what games haven't made it over to the Switch from the Wii U, and that was also on my mind when I was going through the eShop and like, oh yeah, there's actually a ton of stuff on here that I can't play anywhere else, including Laser Blasters, which I downloaded last night for $2. So we can maybe get some gameplay footage up on our YouTube channel. You remember Laser Blasters, don't you?
I do, yeah.
The that missile command.
How could I forget a name like Laser Blasters?
Laser Blasters.
In case I forgot what that game might be about.
The two games that I downloaded last night were Pokemon Snap and Laser Blasters. So
living your own kind of life over there, aren't you?
Yeah, you know where my mind's at. So yeah, that's it. I haven't really, other than that, I haven't been playing much. Grinding away at Magic. The new set comes out this week, so gonna be playing that. Probably streaming it at some point.
Very nice. That's what I like to hear. Getting on that streaming wagon.
Thursday, Friday.
Getting more streams out, so that's cool. I guess also in non-gaming news, I think I shared this on the podcast once. I think it was like in closing while we were explaining the Star Wars. What the hell? No, what was
Star Wars X-Wing Alliance.
X-Wing Alliance, that's what it was. For those of you interested in an update on how my current trek through the chronological release history of Star Wars media is going, I'm currently working on a novel released April 12th, 1979 called Han Solo at Star's End. So we're still in the 70s. I did read ahead on some of the comics. I'm basically up to The Empire Strikes Back, the movie, when that released. But sort of. But I've got 3 books to read before I get caught up on all that. So that's what I'm working on right now.
Awesome. Sounds like you might have some more Star Wars stuff in the future once you catch up with everything.
Yeah.
Someone is making a new Knights of the Old Republic game, but it's not EA. From what I'm hearing, it's not BioWare. I don't think the developer has been announced or like leaked yet, but all that we've heard, at least all that I've heard, is that EA is not involved with it, which is fine. That is okay.
Yeah, to clarify, I guess we've had 2 announcements this week. We've had one that Ubisoft is working on an open world Star Wars game.
Right.
And then that there are rumors circulating that there is a new Knights of the Old Republic being made, but that is the one that is not being led by BioWare. Right. So, we were talking about that a little bit in my channel today, talking about the exclusivity deal with EA. Now, EA is not done making Star Wars games. They've made that clear since the announcement of Ubisoft making their open world game. Right. But is it 2023 when that exclusivity deal runs out? Do you know off the top of your head?
I think so. I think it's either next year or 2023. It's pretty close, but I mean, announcing things now where like if they're super, super early in like the planning phase, which I'm guessing the Ubisoft thing is, I can completely see that just being like, hey, I'll watch out for like in a year and a half, 2 years, we're going to start showing this stuff off more.
Yeah.
Now's a good time to kind of get that word out there, especially with Like they announced that Indiana Jones game from the Wolfenstein folks, which is they like punching them Nazis. Which game today might be about slaughtering some Nazis.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think it's good that they're going with other folks than just EA now. It sounds like from what I was hearing, EA didn't the people who are running EA now inherited that deal and might not have been too happy about keeping that for so long. So I think that there's still good enough partners where they can keep making like Jedi Fallen Order needs a sequel probably. Like
Yeah,
EA can
definitely.
still provide that, and I'm glad that that it seems like they're still in good standing with them to do that eventually. Like Respawn, I would really love to see Respawn work on another one of those.
Absolutely.
But it's nice to see. I'm like, what if we get someone like an Obsidian who made KOTOR 2 working on a new KOTOR, or like Larian, who's now taking care of Baldur's Gate 3, who are kind of the stewards of the CRPG these days. If they take a crack at a KOTOR as well, I think that would be neat. There's a lot of different places they could go with it.
Yeah.
But
that's all I can think of this week. What do you got? Anything else?
No.
All right.
Seems like plenty.
That was a little more dense than I thought, but good talks. Hey. Before we get into the games, I would invite you all, if you enjoy the show, if you enjoy what we're talking about, if you've enjoyed past shows, please go ahead and leave a 5-star review on whether it's Apple Podcasts, Spotify. I don't know if they use stars or not. Whatever you're listening to it on, positive review helps us reach more listeners. We would greatly appreciate that. And if you'd like to reach out and be a part of the show, we're happy to have you. Reach out to us at Patreon, patreon.com/procedurally generated. Twitter, our handle is PG_show. Our email is pgshowinbox@gmail.com. We'll have our Discord linked below, and we also have our. Still gonna say it's shiny new YouTube. You know, it's got that new channel smell.
It's not a lot of scuffs in it yet. I saw one downvote.
Cancel it. We're getting rid of it.
I know. We got to get rid of it now. I'm sorry. Get us below $100 on Patreon, and we'll get rid of it.
Man. Well.
Or if we go even higher, we'll do other things where we just don't care about it anymore.
True. Right? Our quality will get even better, and then that downvote guy will be like, "Oh, wait. Oh, this is better."
Yeah.
Here's 2 upvotes.
Let me give that a thumbs up. Yeah. Let me go thumbs up all of your videos.
But yeah, those are the different ways that you can reach out to us, be a part of the show. And then we've mentioned multiple times already, we do stream. So if you want to pop into my channel and offer up something on the podcast, I'm happy to hear it. You can reach out to me. I stream at CW719. And John, you are at?
I'm at John Carson Games. So if you want to see some magic this week, not the showy kind. It's the card game. It's the card game.
You said it. John's doing magic on his channel. So.
Dude, yeah, it's no like knives in a box or no weird mirror stuff. It's just going to be Magic the Gathering. So lots of Norse mythology stuff this week in that game. So
one of the better mythologies.
Yeah. Hey, they're going for it too. They made like 10 different realms or something. Like they're doing the whole Norse god thing. So that's very cool.
Nice.
But yeah.
All right. Well, let's get started here.
Sure. Let me. Do I have to? I should probably stretch a little bit for this one.
Maybe. Yeah. You don't want to hurt yourself.
No. Do it. I'm gonna get barefoot for it too. I think.
Oh, nice.
Let me roll out my mat.
Are we sure that men can do this though?
I looked into it. It's not the player character; it's a coach. So Yes, I
Oh,
think men can do it.
okay, good deal.
Chris, if you want to clarify for people
Yeah,
what we're talking about and why I'm prepping my chi.
loosen up those hammies.
Oh, they're loose,
Namaste.
baby.
We are talking about a game developed by, is it Oxygen or Oxygene?
I think it's oxygen.
I think it's Oxygene. Developed by Oxygene SRL, published by Oxygene. This is a fitness game released in 2019 for the Nintendo Switch and the PlayStation 4. This is Yoga Master. Now, I've never played this game, but I do know yoga is hard.
Yeah,
To anybody who thinks that yoga, like they watch somebody doing that, I can do that. That's easy. No, you can't. You can't do it.
No, you specifically cannot.
Yeah.
Yoga. I've never really tried it myself, but like, man, that's a lot of stretching and flexibility that I certainly do not have anymore.
The amount of strength that it requires as well will blow your mind. I would
Oh yeah,
desperately want to get good at yoga at some point. I just
this might be it, Chris.
it might be when this pandemic started. Little backstory about my history with yoga. I found a channel on YouTube that I can't think of off the top of my head right now, but it was basically like it was an established channel, and I went from like the oldest video, and I was doing one video a day to try to like get better at stuff. The flow didn't really work for me. But I do have this desperation to get into yoga, and I thought about it. I thought about this might be the one. I don't know if I'm ready to commit to it, but this is what it is.
Yeah.
So the description on the back of the box reads, thanks to a collaboration of international professional yoga coaches, Yoga Master is the first wellness game of its kind, built entirely in 3D and designed by experts to help you reach the perfect balance between mind and body.
Sounds like yoga,
right? That's
like,
how I would have done the
yoga.
back of the box.
Uh-huh.
So this game features more than 150 poses from classic to urban/modern yoga. I've never heard of urban yoga. I just assumed all yoga was classic. So as you can tell, I still have a lot to learn. You can customize the environment, the backgrounds, the coaches, and also includes 100 ready-made programs. That's what interested me, was the idea that there's programs, there's a way to kind of set yourself up for success for future attempts. So, but this is a yoga game.
It is. It's a lot like iToy Kinetic that we talked about during the very first episode, where it takes you through different programs, but a lot of the actual like game stuff isn't really a game. It guides you through your programs. You get to choose what environment you're in, what the background is, and your coach. There's like 3 different coaches to choose from. But then you select what program that you want, and it brings you into it, and it shows you how to do whatever the pose is that you're going to be working on. And it shows you how you're supposed to be breathing during it. It'll instruct you on what your breathing is. A lot of yoga has to do with calmness and controlling your breath.
Yes, which again, harder than it sounds when your entire body is shaking while you're holding a downward dog.
Right.
Breathing becomes less important.
I do like that when you're booting up the game, or I can't remember if it's when you're booting it up or when you're actually going into whatever the program is. It tells you, it's like, hey, not everyone's perfect at this. Do what you can. Do it as well as you can, and you'll just keep trying at it and keep getting better. So it doesn't expect perfection. If you're not using it does support the PlayStation Move and the PS camera. If you do want more of a direct coaching of whether you're doing the position correct or not. But if you're not using that stuff, then you're just kind of following along and doing your own personal, I guess mostly personalized training session.
So it does require, I mean, piggybacking off that, does require, the self self-discipline. You're not
Yes.
getting that immediate feedback as you would with like a
Right.
game like say Ring Fit. Um,
Or as
or
you would with a yoga coach. With an
right, yeah.
actual
So
yogi.
it's just, and that's even in the, I have taken yoga classes before too, and even in those classes too, they reiterate that same thing. You just do your best, do what feels comfortable, and over time things will get easier. So
Right.
this game came out in 2019. The timing, I mean, is pretty good for it. So if you're looking for something to do in the house, Ring Fit Adventures sold out everywhere. You can't go to the gym.
Yeah.
Um, and you want something that's calm and relaxing, but still harder than all get out, maybe this is a game worth looking into. I mean, as it relates to gameplay and stuff like that, we really don't have too much to get into. It's gonna
No.
walk you through some of the basic yoga steps and then teach you some of the more advanced poses. It's got those programs. I think it sounds interesting as somebody who's done yoga before.
Yeah.
Um,
So like watching some videos of this, I do like that there's like a circle that's behind the coach, and it'll expand and contract depending on if they say like inhale or exhale. Kind of shows you what speed you're supposed to be doing that at. Which I think is helpful for someone doesn't really who isn't great at breathing exercises or breathing in general. Like I should say like focused breathing, not like I mean, I've stayed alive this long. I think I could breathe a little bit, but like deep breaths and stuff, I never really know like how long to hold, how long to exhale. It has that kind of stuff in there. The one thing that I did find a little bit off putting is the coach's voice. I don't know if there's different voices for each of the three coaches, but it's very robotic, and it's like someone typed words into a speech simulator.
oh,
Um, and it that really takes me out of it, and it doesn't make me feel relaxed. Like I would say if that's your whole game is to create uh, a Zen yoga experience, having something that doesn't seem calming to you, at least to me, um, it kind of fails in that part a little bit. Um, I do like that you can go into the menus and see what all of the different poses are. It'll show like a silhouette of someone doing that pose, and it'll show you what it'll give a description on how that pose helps you physically and how it helps you mentally, which I think is kind of neat. There's different poses that'll help you with like confidence or flexibility or strength. So you can kind of you could look at all those poses and their descriptions, kind of see what you want to aim for. I think that's really neat instead of just having programs in there without really any description or anything to help you choose what you're doing. Uh, uh, like that detail I think is pretty helpful. Um,
yeah, and I like I said, I'm close to actually pulling the trigger on this game just as a way to have something else. I do. I mean, I've been doing home workouts most mornings, and then just as
mhm,
something to keep the body moving and trying to stay healthy during this awful time that we're all going through. But there's
yeah,
times where like sometimes repeating the same thing over and over again gets so repetitive that it'd be nice to have something like this, something that it's a change, it's a way to change up my routine, but then also take the thinking out of it. Just do like sign up for one of those programs and just do it. Like,
right.
um, so yeah, I definitely have some interest with me having an interest in yoga prior to researching the game. So,
Yeah. And they do have
um,
a little bit of customization for the actual programs too. I'm just going to get into this real quick. Um, so there's not many options, but there's some. There's you could choose how long you want the poses to last. So if there's ones that you want to work on a little bit more, or ones that you feel that um, help you quite a bit, you could change the pose length. It does it by multiples. So there's like a 1 times, there's a 2 times. I don't know if it goes higher than that, but there is a post length. There is also a total time for your program that you can change as well. You could choose whether you're using the Move controller or not. I'm not sure on the Switch version, but I'm guessing there's some sort of controller support for that. And then you could choose what kind of play mode the music's in. A lot of you would expect that you probably want some specific music for this kind of activity, and you could choose whether it's like shuffling through the music or playing it all the way through. So yeah, environments. There's 2, 3, 4, 5 different environments, and there's like 7 or 8 different backgrounds, which I think is just like the sky.
Oh, I was about to say, what was the difference between? I saw you can customize the environment and the background and the coaches, and I was like, what is the difference between the environment and the background?
Yeah, so the environment, there's like a yoga center, the Japanese garden, a terrace, a desert island, or a forest site. It's like the immediate surroundings of the coach.
Okay.
And then the backgrounds are I believe it's just all sky stuff. So it's twilight, sunset,
Oh, okay.
space,
Ooh,
red earth,
space.
which it just looks like Mars.
That stressed me out.
Sunny morning, and then there's some other ones that I did not see the name of. Yeah, it seems like a pretty okay yoga trainer.
Yeah, and if you want to pick it up, it is $24.99. So it's not a full price game. I think it's probably priced accordingly.
Sure, and there is some DLC too to add like other backgrounds and I think other poses and stuff like you mentioned before.
Okay,
so, and those are a couple bucks a piece.
Okay, and I do have a little bit on the developer, not a ton. So, like I said, the developer is Oxygen, along with the publisher. I hope I'm saying Oxygen right. It's Oxygene. The last E is what's throwing me off.
I think it's Oxygen. Like,
Oxygen. Okay.
Yeah.
But as a company, their focus is on blending entertainment and wellness. So they only make these kind of exer games. Is that what the term?
Sure.
It's the term I learned with iToy Kinetic, and they actually did call it out on their website as I think exer games. So it's not just something
they make a few other things. Like it's all like they make a kid's game for the Wii U called Love Me Buddies Wonderland, which has like memory and recognition stuff. So it's some sort of self-betterment software.
Yeah,
I think is mainly what they do.
Fit Music was another one. Baila Latino and Mind Labyrinth VR Dreams. But all of their games have some sort of focus on either mental well-being, health and fitness, which I think is a good approach for a studio. I think that kind of stuff has a place, especially in the year 2020. So, yeah, I mean, it's something that I think if I do check it out, I'll obviously update you.
Yeah, I don't have any strong feelings about this at all. Like, it's exactly what you're looking for. It's something to kind of guide you through a workout. So.
Yeah. And then it does actually have. Sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say it doesn't seem to be doing anything egregiously bad.
Yeah. So. There is no active critic score on Metacritic, but I did see a user score rating of 7.7 for the PS4 version. So,
it's better than nothing.
For whatever that means, it's there. So
7.7 stretches are being done.
That's right. That's Yoga Master. What say we take a little break?
Take a little breather.
Yeah. We'll talk to you guys in just a few minutes.
Exhale.
Welcome back, everyone. Here we are for part 2 of Procedurally Generated, episode 13. John?
Yeah?
You had pancakes over break.
I did. They were delicious. They're very, very good.
I had some grapes in them.
My lovely wife.
You
had some grapes?
I had some grapes.
Whew.
Yeah.
Sounds like you had some onions over there over the break. With all the crying that was happening.
Oh,
Anyway.
I see what you did there. Yeah, I also
Yeah.
made my son cry. So it was a
Well,
successful break. He deserved it.
nothing wakes you up
Yeah.
like making a child cry.
Yep. I went out and he was pulling some shenanigans. We had to do a little disciplining and he wasn't responding. So we went upstairs. We shut the light off downstairs, and that's when he lost it.
No, yeah, don't turn off lights.
No.
Kids don't like it. Speaking of,
holy smokes,
our fire alarm's going off again. What the hell?
All
right, I'll be back, I guess.
Cool.
This happened a couple days ago.
All right. Oh, apartment living. Gotta love it. And we're back again.
Yeah. You got a little bonus break in there, Chris. So yeah, when we tried to come back last time, the fire alarm was going off in my apartment building, which has happened now twice this week, and all of the firefighters were in the mechanical room across the hall from my apartment.
Fun.
So, which was the place where the fire alarm went off earlier in the week. So, yeah, I remember someone mentioning like, "Oh, I hope this doesn't happen again," because I think it's just cold out and the heater kicked in, and it was getting too hot or too smoky or something, and it set off some alarms. So I just went and stood in our main entrance of our apartment building for like 20 minutes, almost half an hour. And the reason why I'm telling all this is that I think it's funny that everyone chose to order delivery during this time, because there were at least, like, when we got down there's a DoorDash dude waiting for someone to pick up their delivery. There was a guy from Pizza Hut who came and he just walked into like this room, like this entryway full of people. He's like, "Have you guys happen to have ordered a veggie pizza?" Which
I'm looking for a Jimmy.
Dude.
Looking for a Jimmy.
And then one of the other guys that was down there had just picked up food and like was holding his food there. So he was down there for 20 minutes while his food was getting cold. I just thought it's funny that there's a parade of just delivery drivers just walking up, just going, I think I'm gonna try calling my person and seeing where they are. Like, oh, they're probably at an entrance somewhere around here. You'll find them. Just drive around.
I went upstairs and I told Kate what was going on, and I was just kind of like, buying the house, one of the most exciting parts about it was the idea that I wouldn't have to live in an apartment and deal with fire alarms.
just like, your own mistakes, right, rather than everyone else's.
And then I'm like, well, wait, here we are in a house and my life is being affected by an apartment fire alarm still.
Yeah. Yep. Uh-huh.
Oh,
so you're welcome. You're welcome for the trip down memory lane.
Yeah,
I will say this time our cats were more cooperative than they were the previous time. Rose was able to get Zorro, our older, bigger cat, who usually hides under our bed, and then we have to like poke him out with a broom. Or on like, it was like Saturday or Sunday when that last one happened. I had to tear the mattresses off the bed and just grab them the old-fashioned way.
Oh, jeez.
Our other cat, Sheik, both times went under our couch. So we would have to either lift it up or open the recliner. And it's a mechanical recliner. And I don't want the cats getting caught in it.
Yeah, that makes me incredibly uneasy just hearing that.
Yeah. So the last time the fire alarm went off, I sent Rose outside with Zorro in his carrier because we got him out first. And then Sheik, I spent the rest of the time until the fire alarm turned off trying to get her out from under the couch. At one point, I was like lifting it, like just lifting the couch by myself and screaming at her. Which she retreated out the back of the couch because when I looked under, she wasn't there. And then when I set it back down gently, I saw her tail just scurry back into it.
Oh,
So, yeah, I risked my life for that cat. It was a lot easier this time though. So,
and that's why I'm a dog person.
yeah. So
Should we talk about game number 2?
I think we should talk about game number 2. Oh boy. I was about to intro it last time. Let me pull this up quick. This one's a weird one. This was a 2001 Windows release published by Troma Entertainment, developed by Bloodlust Software. This is Skippy's Revenge.
Yeah.
This is the description on Moby Games. Taking as its point of departure a scene in the 1985 movie The Toxic Avenger, in which Skippy, a nice innocent boy out on a nocturnal bike ride, gets deliberately knocked down and run over by a boorish joyriding youths. This game asks the burning question, the burning what if question. Could his gushy remains be scraped off the asphalt and the spark of life blazed back into them? What would life be like for this broken child in the flower of life, never again to walk, let alone ride his precious bicycle? Would he nurse his grudge or learn in time to forgive his aggressors? We all know there wouldn't be much of a game if the latter was the case. So instead, his simmering remains are installed into a modified sit-down lawnmower dubbed his Death Buggy, which he uses to mulch no-good neo-Nazi punks as steered by the player at the arrow keys. This is Skippy's Revenge.
Yeah.
It's what a wild looking game. It's very primitive looking, top down, kind of an arcadey looking game.
Mm-hmm.
Like the description says, you do control Skippy with your arrow keys, where you're just turning left, right, and moving forward or backwards while you're trying to hit neo-Nazis wherever they may be on the screen. There are obstacles to avoid, like blind bikini babes, quote, and other things like mines that are hidden in the lawn. This game goes to places, Chris.
It sure does. Here's the level 1 description.
Mm-hmm.
This is just level 1. So Nazis, as they do, have taken over the Tromaville Institute for the Blind.
Yes.
The bastards even planted mines in the front yard. It's up to you to mow down the Nazis before they can do any more damage. Be careful, though. Don't hit any of the blind bikini babes or hit any mines, or Hitler's bootlickers will have the last laugh. Yeah. Now you had mentioned something earlier when we were talking about one of the games we were playing, how this game has some Wolfenstein Nazi killing tropes.
Yeah.
It goes a bit further than that. Even there's a not a mecha Hitler
actually,
but there's a Franken Hitler in this game.
There sure is.
This is just a Wolfenstein game.
This is just Wolfenstein. This is BJ Blazkowicz on a lawnmower. If his head was crushed and reanimated,
right?
But I mean, when hasn't that happened to BJ?
True. He's
level
been through
5.
Some stuff.
Level 5 is entitled Franken Hitler. It says, "Oh no, Adolf Hitler himself has risen from the grave to attack the poor citizens of Tromaville. He's grafted his zombie head onto a mutated giant body, and his old body is piloting a flying ball of death. You never know what these effing dictators have going on in their heads. Try to lure the little Hitler into shooting the big Hitler and get your wax on him while you can." This is a boss fight where you're trying to make a tiny Hitler head shoot a giant Franken Hitler.
Yeah.
Just why not?
So this game, like John said in the intro, the game synopsis, this game is centered around a character from the 1985 movie, The Toxic Avenger,
which I've never seen. I've always been intrigued by it, but
yeah,
it's never been
I almost
something
rented it
that
for
I've watched.
this, but then
Yeah, but it seems like a throwaway thing,
it does.
like
Like
a weird throwaway scene.
I think he just dies and that's it. But this is like,
Yeah,
let's make this entire game based off of if he didn't die and he did this instead.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
I mean, I will say that this game was made by a couple of teenagers, so this all makes sense
oh, I guess I didn't know
in a high
that.
schooler's brain. Yeah. Um,
Oh, actually, I guess
Bloodlust
that
Entertainment or Bloodlust Software was created by two kids in high school named Ethan Petty and Iser Addis. I feel like I'm butchering Iser, but um, I believe they were in high school at the time. They were around 16 when they were making these games.
oh, that's cool.
They have like 5 or 6 games that are published by Troma. Troma is a um, kind of a B movie movie publisher. So Tromaville is the fictional place where a lot of their movies take place. So all the Toxic Avengers are in Tromaville. They have a few others that also take place there. Um, but yeah, they're like these are just some kids making some violent games that happen to be published by Troma.
Yeah. So I I didn't know what to do with this. Like,
Yeah, because it's just a freeware game basically. It's something
yeah,
that you could just go online and download. I think that's how it was originally just out there as.
yeah, and it's, I
And
mean,
there's not much to it.
no, every level is essentially the same. It's a top-down perspective with
Yeah.
your vehicle, and you're just running over Nazis and avoiding other things,
Right.
things like the blind bikini babes and whatnot.
Right. I mean, as you should. You don't want to kill innocents.
No,
Of course.
no. I mean, every level does add like a wrinkle. Like there's Uber Nazis that put masks on the bikini babes to try to make them
Uh huh.
look like targets, and you have to like recognize it. It's not a difficult concept, but they add like these
Yeah.
teensy little you know changes to gameplay to try to keep it somewhat fresh. But I mean, Bloodlust has uh, 5 games to their name. They had Skippy's Revenge was actually I think the last one that they
Yeah. I
released.
think so.
There was Noggin Knockers 2, Time Slaughter, Wrath of the
Mm-hmm.
Sea, Wrath of the Sea King, sorry, and Tromaball prior to Skippy's
Yes.
Revenge.
Yes. And I guess
Um,
this might have happened when they were a little bit older, because like Naga Knockers 2 was in 1996 and this came out in 2001.
yeah,
So I could be getting that timeline wrong, but I remember reading that they were younger at the time when they put Bloodlust together as a little company.
okay. And then for Troma as a video game publisher, they've
Mhm.
done a lot of stuff on the entertainment side of things, but I mean, 2 of the games that they've released, or the 2 of the games that they've published, have come from Bloodlust, Trauma Ball, and Skippy's Revenge. And then there was a third one that they published called Toxic Mayhem: The Trauma Project. So all of their stuff has been very much tied to trauma in name,
Right.
um, and they're still, I mean, they're still around today.
Oh, totally. Their website claims that they've had 45 years of disrupting media.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah. They know what they're all about.
yeah.
Um,
Which I don't think we have to get really into Trauma themselves. Like they have their own storied history, but I think the more interesting stuff is going to be or are going to come from the developers of this game. Which,
I agree.
upon initial glance, like it just seems like this freeware game that was kind of lost to time. Um, and I was actually surprised that they had developers like listed for this or like a software company at all for this. But then when I started looking into them a little bit deeper, like these Ethan Petty and Iser Addis are both still active in the industry.
Yeah,
Working for bigger companies. If you do you have some info on either Ethan or Iser?
I have some Ethan stuff. I didn't get anything on Icer, but
Gotcha.
Ethan, who's also known as Hellbent Deathspawn, which
I
when
was
you
wondering when you loaded that up, who
yeah,
held yeah.
so Hellbent Deathspawn, which is like it shows when you load up the game, a game by Hellbent Deathspawn. That is Ethan Petty.
Yes.
So he was the founder of Bloodlust Software. He came up with the game concept, story, art, and sound.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, he had. I mean, had a big role in this game. There were some other credits for I think like level music and something else. So he didn't
Yeah.
do 100% of the game himself, but um, so he, I mean, he did a lot of stuff throughout the early 2000s, but
Yep.
it looks like at some point, probably around the early 2000s, 2003, 2004, he was probably, it looked like he was hired by Ubisoft because
Hmm.
he worked on Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell Chaos Theory in
Yes.
2005 and also worked on Double Agent in 2006. He then went on also to do Rainbow Six Vegas and Vegas 2 in 2006 and 2008, respectively. And then he wrapped up the 2000s by working on James Cameron's Avatar: The Game.
Yes.
Um, now, he's stayed busy in the 2010s, again with Ubisoft, working on Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, Watch Dogs, Rainbow Six Siege, and his last credited game that he's worked on was Watch Dogs 2. Now, that was in 2016, but I found him on LinkedIn.
I
Um,
did too.
yeah, and in
Yeah.
2018, he was hired as a senior writer with Eidos Montreal. So he could conceivably have had some kind of hand in Shadow the Tomb Raider, but more likely might have played a bigger role in perhaps Marvel's Avengers.
Potentially, yeah.
Potentially, he
But
wasn't credited for it.
there's no description there. So,
So,
oh no,
oh no,
things are breaking over here. Don't
no,
worry
no,
about it.
is it another fire
It's
alarm?
just gonna. No, that was a light that fell from behind a monitor. Don't worry about it.
Jeez. But yeah, it's so he hasn't been credited with anything at Eidos. I'm not sure if he had a hand in either of those games, but those are the two most recent releases from Eidos Montreal.
And
Um,
his LinkedIn does say that he still works for both places. So I wonder if he's just like contracted for writing currently. I don't know.
that could be
Yeah. Yeah, so he's been around. He's been doing things. He's more the creative type of the two. Icer Addis, on the other hand, is the programmer of the duo. So he did a lot of C++ work. He was kind of the technical know-how for Bloodlust. After the two kind of split off, Icer was still using the Bloodlust name for a couple of projects that he worked on. Most notably, some emulators that came out in the early 2000s. One that I've used in the past, this is what really excited me, was Icer Addis made the Nesticle NES emulator.
oh,
Yeah,
that is cool.
yeah. So he's not credited as like it obviously wasn't one of the first NES emulators, but it was one of the ones that was easy to use. It wasn't super. It wasn't supposed to be super accurate, but it's supposed to be easy to use and fast. Didn't bog down the system very much. So it was very popular because of that. You could just kind of get in, play a game. There wasn't like a ton of issues, but it also maybe wasn't the most accurate versions of it. He also went on to do the Sega Genesis emulator and the Callus Capcom arcade emulator. So he did a lot of work in the emulator space,
Nice.
some of which that people might have used throughout the 2000s. Um, they still have like you mentioned before we started recording that you had gone to the Bloodlust website, and you're like, oh, I tried going into like their website, but there wasn't anything there, and I saw that there's emulator stuff. All their emulator stuff is still on there, actually. Um, so there's some fun art on there. There's some screenshots of games that run on these emulators, and some notes from I'm guessing Icer Addis as well on these emulator pages. So yeah, he went on to let's see here. Yeah, Icer went on to work for EA. I've seen like some tweets from other people saying he's worked at EA for about 2 decades now.
Oh,
But he's a programmer. He's worked on the Madden series. He did additional programming for SSX3, and he did some programming for a game that we've talked about but haven't actually covered, EA Sports MMA.
oh yeah.
So nice little connection to an earlier episode there. Yeah, I found a Vice article that was all about the Nesticle and like that whole age of emulation. And weirdly enough, they had an interview with Ethan Petty, but not with Icer, I believe. So
Interesting.
they have some quotes in there from Ethan about their time making games together with Bloodlust. And he calls their style, he says, quote, I'd call it an equal mix of trauma movies, professional wrestling, and guar. We celebrated the best of the world in American culture because we thought it was hilarious and found the overreactions to it, especially the religious ones, even funnier. We wanted to shock with excessive gore and offensive material, just like our idols, but the end result was a lot more crude. You saw through the lens of high school students trying to be rebels. So,
And I don't have any familiarity with any of the other games that Bloodlust released.
same. I don't either. But that kind of like the emulator stuff was kind of my touchdown
Yeah.
with them.
No, that's cool. I use the Nesticle myself.
Who didn't?
That's right. Also,
everyone had that
don't
embarrassing
pirate
little icon. Yeah. Well, if you own the game, you are allowed to
that is true. You are allowed to have it.
Yes.
So that's all I have.
Yeah,
really
I don't really have much.
Skippy's Revenge.
Yeah, you can download it. I found a site to do it. I'll probably put that in the Discord. So
perfect.
Yeah.
All right.
Have fun.
Should we move into our third game?
I think we should.
Awesome. Our third game, developed by Drinkbox Studios, published by Drinkbox Studios. This is an action game. More of an action...
light RPG.
Light art, yeah. Yeah, I think that works.
Action slash.
Year of... it released in 2016. It's released on the iPad, the iPhone, the Nintendo 3DS, the Nintendo Switch, the PlayStation Vita, and the Wii U. We are covering the PlayStation Vita version. And it's a game I've never played, but I actually heard super good things about when it released. It's a game called Severed.
Yeah, this was our community pick.
This was. That's right. Month. That's right. Yes. I should maybe... Yeah. Well, yes. So you should know what this is.
Well, some people will.
That's true.
Yeah. This is Severed. This is the newest game that came out from Drinkbox. I can't think of anything they've done. Oh, good. They did Guacamelee too.
Yes.
That's right.
Guacamelee 2 came out post Severed.
Yes, because their whole Q&A or their whole FAQ section on their website is, where's Guacamelee 2? Why aren't you doing Guacamelee 2? So, yeah, that kind of places it where firmly in the pre-times.
So in Severed, what you're doing is you're taking control of a one-armed warrior named Sasha, who wields a living sword on her journey through a nightmare world in search of her family. That gives you a little bit, but this game plays differently than I would say most
anything
games
that they've done.
Yeah. So
it's like a mix between, I'd say, wizardry, where you're going through first person dungeons and you can kind of turn around and look at things, and what was that epic iOS game that came out like with iPhones?
Infinity Blade.
And everyone, yep. It's like Infinity Blade gameplay.
A press release that I found on Gamasutra actually served up this combination. I was like, that actually fits pretty good. Cross between Mega Man, Infinity Blade, and Mike Tyson's Punch Out.
Yeah, I could see all those.
Yeah. So it is it is a touchscreen game. It's the only way it can be played.
Yes.
Where you use both offensive and defensive capabilities by swiping at the screen. So you think even Infinity Blade, Fruit Ninja, that kind of mechanic,
Hmm.
and it it seemed pretty interesting from what I could see. I can tell though. I can so everything we say about this game, I'm going to qualify it all by saying it's a game that you should try. um,
Yeah,
it's we can do our best to explain it. You can do your best to look at it, but I think it's one of those things that like it's you got to kind of feel it, which
you
is a weird thing
do.
to say for not having played it.
And really, like, every encounter is slightly different. So yeah, we're gonna try to explain some pretty broad concepts.
Yeah,
So forgive us if we're not super clear on what's going on. But I would say the combat boils down to each enemy has their own weaknesses and uh, tactics in battle. So one of the first things that you come up across is a monster with 4 arms that can cover up different parts of its body to block certain parts. So you are slashing with your finger in the exposed parts, and eventually the monster will change the position that it's guarding, or the point that it's guarding. Um, you are trying to build up a meter, so when the monster dies, if that meter is full, you can cut off limbs or sever their limbs. That's why the game's called Severed.
yeah,
Uh, to then collect those monster pieces to level up your character. Uh, yeah, so there's a variety of different kinds of monsters with different weaknesses and different motions that they do to guard themselves or to attack. You can parry attacks. If a monster is swinging in at you, if you slash up at whatever their limb or whatever they're attacking you um, with your sword, you can block their attack, and then you can get in some damage while they're stunned. Um, and there's like other power ups and stuff that you can get from bosses. I believe that's where the Mega Man component comes in. I really couldn't find any good information on what those are, though.
yeah.
Um,
I don't know how if you think of like what an ability tree might be in this game or some sort
yeah.
of progression. I don't know what that
Oh,
encapsulates.
so yeah, the progression is there is a skill tree. Um, each skill takes different enemy body parts to cash in to level it up. But there's things like critical strike or uh, dealing damage will heal you, or you could turn certain monster parts into other monster parts. There's a variety of those kinds of things in the tree there. But I think the most from what I was reading was like the most game changing part is when you beat a boss, you can take part of that boss and put it on you. Like you can equip it, and it changes how you play. I spent like a half an hour today looking for like walkthroughs or anything that would describe what those do. Couldn't find anything.
Hmm.
So I guess I'm just gonna have to play more
Yeah.
to figure that out. Uh,
This is one that I kind of want to get hands on with as
right.
well. The thing that interested me the most, which is weird. I don't know what the link. I don't typically go for dungeon crawling experiences. First
Right.
person wizardry, that kind of stuff has never appealed to me. But something about the presentation of this one, and I don't know if it's just like the mini map that's always present, knowing like you can backtrack and search for things
Yeah.
and all that. It got me like super interested in what I was seeing.
Well, I think the art's good too. Like,
Yes,
there's a lot of interesting things to look at. Um,
and I
so
do want to get
they
into
do
the
this.
art at some point too.
Yeah,
Found some
there
articles
is
on
this
that
like
stuff.
there's this pseudo 3D effect that they use where like you're in first person and you are going room to room, but each room that you're in is just a 360-degree painting that you are rotating to look around. And there's sometimes things in the environment where you can slash and pick up monster parts or heal or whatever. But I think it's really cool that like each room that you go into is like its own piece of art. Um, it's a really neat effect, and the art's very pretty. If you guys have seen Guacamelee, it's cartoony, it's kind of flat shaded, but it has like a is Mesoamerican the correct uh like placement of
I don't know
art?
if I don't
Like
know.
it's kind of it's like semi Mayan, semi south.
Well, I mean, I can say like they said specifically in an article that I read, Guacamole specifically, they tried to channel their cultural heritage as being Mexican in the art that
Right.
they chose. So
Sure.
yes,
Yeah.
I guess. And it's funny you mentioned the navigation too. I found a dev diary on their website that um, kind of discussed the basis for how that navigation worked. They tried. I say they. The name Augusto Quijano, I think,
Sure.
um, who is also the concept lead, shared that it was a game called Shining in the Dark from the
Oh yeah.
Sega Genesis
Yeah.
um, game that inspired this game's navigation. Which, when you're in a town and Shining in the Dark, um, it is just one scrolling picture that you see, but it's got a tavern on it. It's got an exit. It's got a weapon shop and all that stuff. You're
Yeah.
just scrolling your first person perspective across this tapestry, and he called that out specifically as how he wanted the navigation to work. So I was actually kind of happy to hear you talk to that because or speak to that because that's I had good feelings of Shining in the Dark. Shining in the Dark is the precursor to the Shining Force series, which is more well known,
Mm-hmm.
I think. So, but I've attached that specific Dev Diary blog in the Discord for you to
Yep.
take a look at. Um, Continuing on with the art, unless you had something else that you were going to share.
No, I will say that I also posted in the Discord. There's the original pitch video
Oh yeah,
for this game, which is all done just like with very basic animation. I think the person who's pitching this just kind of made a bunch of images in Photoshop, but like gives you a very good idea, like a very crude idea of of what they wanted this game to be, but like a lot of their ideas uh made it into the final game pretty untouched, which I think is very neat, especially like the 360-degree uh room art and like the town that you were talking about, like seeing everything in first person and just kind of rotating around, like that was there from the pitch. And I think it's very cool that it's stuck and didn't really get changed into something else to make it more not accessible. I think this game is very accessible as is, um, because you are kind of dealing with like one room at a time and touch controls. I should say you do have joystick control for moving between rooms and shifting your view. But it is also an iOS game, so you can play it with all touch.
yeah,
But yeah, check out that pitch video. It's in the Discord. It's under the Severed channel.
yeah. And I did
But yeah,
confirm it was Augusto Quijano who wrote
oh good,
the dev blog about Shining in the Dark. So,
good, excellent.
I found an.
I'm,
Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say go continue.
Oh,
I was
okay.
gonna say you go ahead.
Well, I'll go.
Continue, Chris.
I found
What's keeping you, Chris?
it's you now. I found a Gamasutra
Yeah.
article detailing why the art was chosen. Now the art is reminiscent of Guacamelee, which the studio is kind of known for its using more simplistic shapes, but putting them
They always
together,
have.
yeah, in,
Yeah.
in interesting
Since
ways.
like Mutant Blob's Attack and all those games, yeah,
Yeah,
they definitely
and
have.
they kept it with Severed, but they wanted to make something kind of visceral looking, but they didn't want it to be gross. So they added like bright colors, just a super bright palette overall to try to take away from some of the more off-putting aspects of their creature design and stuff like that. The article itself kind of goes into more depth, but it was kind of a cool take on, wanting to create that unease, but also, instead of being grossed out by what you see, you're kind of mesmerized by what's happening on the screen.
Yeah.
And that was, again, that might be why the game is so appealing to me as a dungeon crawler, because
it's colorful. There's a
yeah,
lot of teals and purples and
where normally in a game of this type, you would go into a dungeon and it would be about a lot of browns and grays
browns
and just,
and bricks and
yeah, just no fun to
rocks.
look at.
Yeah.
So this kind of that might be the biggest reason right there. There's also if you got some time, there's another link that I shared in the Discord, which is actually a 50-minute video from GDC 2016 where Augusto Ciano is talking about the art of Severed. I didn't get to watch the whole thing, but from what I did watch, I was like, this is a pretty good look at kind of an inside look at how a developer goes about their business, or comes up with the idea of what they want to do, and then seeing it come to fruition. That GDC talk was actually done before the game was released too. So I have to imagine that that's kind of a strange conversation to have with a bunch of people that have not gotten hands on with your game.
Right. But
Um,
also, I think at that point, people had seen this game for a while,
True.
and it had a very striking style, and people knew what that game was when they saw it. So
Yeah.
I think having a game like this be so recognizable pre-launch is a big strength for it.
Mm-hmm. And then the last point that I thought was important, and I talked about it just briefly a second ago when we were talking about Guacamelee and the enemy design. They used their enemy design, their creature design, to kind of pull through their Mexican heritage, just with the color and the presentation and all that stuff. In Severed, they wanted to create a fantasy world, but not one that exists. They didn't want to pull from an existing mythology. So they did their creature design based on emotions. So they what
Mm-hmm.
does fear look like as a monster? What does
Yeah.
uncertainty look like? And that's kind of how they ended up developing these creatures. And it's, again, it's a really good look at, like, they look at one enemy, the initial creation of it, and decided, oh, it's too off-putting, and that's where they again implement the art, where they start adding a whole bunch of different color, and they tweak some things here, tweak some things there, and what you've got is essentially the same thing, but it's just more appealing to the eye.
Right.
But it still doesn't diverge from what they wanted to create in the first place.
Right.
So it's, again, a lot of really cool discussion exists around the creation of this game, and that's sometimes we don't get a chance to see that as easily. It's not as readily available. So if I'm talking a lot about the art in this game, it's because I don't get a chance to do it very often. So and all of their hard work, I mean, paid off. They won
Oh, totally.
a lot of awards. Apple awarded them the 2016 iPad Game of the Year, the Canadian Video Game Awards of 2016. They won Best Mobile / Handheld Game and Best Musical Score. Destructoid gave it its 2016 Best Mobile Game Award. It was a finalist for Best Handheld Game from the 20th DICE Awards. Finalist for Best Mobile Handheld Game at the 2016 Game Awards, and IGN named it a finalist for Best Mobile Game of 2016 as well. So all kinds of
Yeah.
praise. And I remember when Severed released, there was the podcast that I would listen to. Everybody just adored this game. So
Yeah.
it is
Yeah.
one that I do plan on playing. It was also, if you have a Vita and you were keeping up on PlayStation Plus games and you forgot that you have a Vita, there's a chance you might own it because in March of 2017, it was a PlayStation Plus game, free
Right.
on Vita.
Yeah. I think a lot of the award consideration for this game too happened to be because of their flexibility with releasing this on other platforms as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like 2016 was probably the last year of the Vita. There wasn't much coming out after Severed, but within a few months, that's when it released on Wii U and on iOS, and then a little bit later in the year was 3DS as well. So, I think having it on all those platforms, it is on Switch as well.
Yep, it is now on Switch.
Yeah. I purchased it on Switch this weekend, and guess what? It plays really well on there. It looks great.
Nice.
You have to play it in handheld mode though. There is no TV support for it, so keep that in mind. I wonder if the Wii U version does both. I might have to look into this because I feel like capturing footage for this game, and that's probably why we're not seeing a lot of like walkthroughs for this game at all.
Yeah.
Because you need a touchscreen, you need some sort of HDMI output to get any footage of it, which you weren't getting on Vita. You can get on Switch if you mod it. You can get it with iPad and iPhone if you have an HDMI adapter, but oof, yeah, this one's kind of hard to find stuff for, even though the game is readily available to play.
Yeah, I would. This would be on my streaming list in a heartbeat. I just don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
So it might be something, but I do want to play it if that option doesn't exist. Very rarely will I try to experience a game for the first time not on stream.
Right.
But it might just have to be the way it goes. So
that could be.
Do you want to talk a little bit about developers, or do you have anything else on just cool stuff?
I personally don't have too much about the developers outside of they've made some really good games.
Yeah.
Guacamelee is an incredible Metroidvania based on luchadors and like Mexican mythology. Those games are very, very fun. I think anybody who likes a Castlevania Symphony of the Night or a Metroid should really give Guacamelee and Guacamelee 2 a check.
Yes, I had the music. I had the music from Guacamelee stuck in my head for months after I beat it. Like it's so good.
That game is incredible.
Yeah.
My first introduction to Drinkbox was Mutant Blob's Attack on the Vita. It was one of the first games that I bought for the Vita when it came out, and I just blew through that game. I loved it. So that one's gonna be. It's a shorter experience. It's a lot simpler. But Mutant Blob's Attack, I think, is worth it to just spend an afternoon with. And I believe you can find that on other platforms as well. Let me look that up. While do you have anything that you want to talk about?
No, I mean, honestly, I said, do you have anything on developers? All I literally have are the games that they've released, which are all fantastic games. I haven't played Tales from Space, About a Blob, or the other one, Mutant. What did you say?
Mutant Blob's Attack.
Mutant Blob's Attack.
Yeah.
But I have played Guacamelee. I haven't played Guacamelee 2 yet, which I should put that on the list. What am I doing?
You should. I always forget that exists.
Yeah. So Guacamelee 2 is going on my streaming list because I loved the first one.
Yeah. Yeah. Tales from Space, Mutant Blob's Attack is available on, well, it says Linux, Macintosh, Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 3, PlayStation Vita, Windows, and Xbox 360. So you can play it on Switch. You can play it on PC. It doesn't say PC. What? Never mind. You play it on Switch.
There you go.
Oh, they have it at Good Old Games. It's $10 at Good Old Games.
There you go.
Go play that. It is on PC.
Perfect. And just to further cement the critical reception aspect, the Vita right now, the Vita version sits at 82, a Switch sits at 87, and the iOS version an 88 on Metacritic.
For
And
Severed,
the
yes.
and for Severed, yeah. And on OpenCritic, it has a mighty rating, which is the highest honor for games averaging in the 90th percentile or above. That's the first mighty game I've come across on OpenCritic.
That's incredible. That's great.
Yeah. Top critic average of 84% and 84% of critics recommending. So
good.
Worth looking at, worth checking out. I'm going to.
You should.
I wish I could show you all through the stream, but I don't think I can. So I'll enjoy this one by myself.
Good.
But that's all I've got for Severed.
That's all I have for all three of these games. Wow, we made it. We made it through the show. It's time to rank them. You went first last time because I definitely matched everything that.
That's right.
That you were doing last week. So
yeah. All right, lead us off.
All right, so I survived a fire that doesn't exist to tell you my rankings for this week. Number 3. This is tough. It's a tough one.
Is it though?
It's not. Number 3 is going to be Skippy's Revenge. I don't really like the look of the game. It doesn't really seem like it's that fun, especially this day and age. I like what the creators have gone on to do, and I really don't have any affinity for the Troma universe of movies. So yeah, it's a pretty quick and easy. Skippy's Revenge is my number 3 game for this week. Chris, what's at the bottom of your list?
Yeah, mine is also going to be Skippy's Revenge. My favorite thought about this is like being Ethan Petty and showing his resume and just wondering, I wonder when the last time is he told anybody about Skippy's Revenge. I just feel like it's the kind of thing that we just gloss over. We don't talk about that because that game does
got him started. I mean, he shipped games, so
yeah. I mean, he's gone on to obviously do something. This was a big part of him getting his start, but this game does not survive in 2020.
Oh no. Yeah, like even the site that they had on Moby to like download it was taken down. I had to find another site to download it.
Yeah. So this game, I have zero interest in. I mean, the game, and actually, I don't. This isn't. I don't think we talked about it. This is not any way licensed. Well, it has to be licensed. It's from Troma. Troma published it because there are actually stills from the movie at the end of the game,
and at the beginning,
and
they show Skippy had been run over by the car, and there's like.
That is
audio. I don't know if it's from the movie. Yeah. Most things from the Toxic Avenger, I gather are graphic. So,
but Skippy's Revenge is firmly planted at the bottom of my list.
You're gonna skip it, is what you're saying.
I'm gonna Skippy Revenge.
He's gonna get his revenge on you. All right. So, moving on. Number 2 for me this week. Hey, you know what? I'm pretty in the middle on this game, but I feel like it has some merit. Yoga Master is my number 2. I think it probably wouldn't hurt if I did some yoga poses, if I did some stretching, some meditation, brought myself into a mode of Zen. Really in these troubling times, it might help to improve my mood from day to day. It wouldn't hurt to just be a little bit more active, to be a little bit more flexible, to learn how to breathe so I can stay alive. Chris,
well said.
I need to learn how to breathe.
Yep.
How do you breathe?
I don't know. I've never gotten to the relaxing part
lungs
of yoga.
Work?
It's always
always the stressful.
It's always I'm like 5 minutes in and just sweating profusely, shaking, and just unhappy. But apparently, if you push past that, it does become relaxing. No, Yoga Master's my number 2 as well. Um, and I have a genuine interest in yoga, and it intrigues me to the point. In fact, it's weird that I have 2 games on this list that I've already mentioned that I would like to play but not stream. Like
Oh, you don't
there's,
want to stream yoga?
I'm not going to be streaming any yoga.
I said I'm gonna throw down those channel
My
points.
my
Look at you
chat
streaming
my
yoga.
chat has enough ammunition. Let's just let's just keep
We'll,
it
we'll
just
we'll
keep it
get you
as
doing
is.
Ring Fit.
Oh man, that would be
I
something.
mean, it's fitness and an RPG. What more could
That's
you want?
It's true.
What more could you personally want?
That's you raise a valid point. Yoga Master is my number 2. Again, I enjoy yoga. I'm considering maybe picking this one up to kind of change up my morning routine, but we'll see.
All right, all right,
What is at the top
yeah.
of your list? I
So
can't
number
guess.
one, I'm gonna cut right to it. It's Severed.
Ooh, this man.
I already bought it. I played some today. I bought it on Vita back in 2016 and basically played a little bit further than I played today. So like I'm still pretty fresh on the game. I would like to see what those items that the bosses get you do. I know there's a lot of strategy in maintaining what enemies are around you and getting your focus meter built up so you can kill enemies in a proper order to get their body parts to upgrade your character. It's a lot of good systems in there, and it's fun to just swipe things with your fingers like it's a sword. The game's beautiful. The music's great. I think it's fun to play, and Severed is easily my number one for this week.
Very nice. I'm right there with you. I I don't typically go for mobile games at all. This game is, and I picture it as a mobile game just because of the touchscreen aspect. That's not necessarily fair, but it is a
Sure,
handheld game. Um,
handheld game for sure.
and even the swiping mechanics. I played a little bit of Infinity Blade, and I was like, this is fine. Played some Fruit Ninja, this is fine. But man, the stuff that they've implemented into this game regarding like the actual like RPG mechanics, um, the exploration, the just the art and all that stuff, all of that makes this game look so intriguing to me. Um,
I would say that the benefit of this over like a Fruit Ninja or an Infinity Blade is it's not an arcadey experience. Like you are playing through a game. Like
right,
there is a world that you're exploring. There are goals that you're getting to. There's a story that they're telling. Like Infinity Blade does have a story, but it is arcadey at heart. Um, it's kind of a roguelike, right? Um, and then something like Fruit Ninja is a free to play game
yeah,
that's just built on chasing scores. Where this has the veneer of RPG elements, which helps a lot. Which I guess uh, Infinity Blade has as well, but
yeah, and I just think that there's enough here to put this game a couple notches above Infinity Blade in terms of like games that I think I would enjoy.
sure,
Um,
yep,
yeah, this game has a lot going for it. Had a lot going for it in 2016. I just still haven't pulled the trigger. The show again might be what puts me over the edge to finally try this out. So, Severed
excellent,
is absolutely my number one
yeah,
for this
with
week
a bullet with a blade
with a blade.
with a blade.
That's a show.
Hey, we did it
We
again
sure did.
for the 13th time. That's unlucky, right? Is
No.
that why my fire alarm went off?
That's what
It's
it
the
is. We
13th
knew
episode.
something was gonna happen.
Yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense. Well, better luck next time.
Yeah. 14 is there's nothing spooky about that number, right?
No,
So,
not that I know of.
well, if you guys enjoyed the show, if you guys liked what we talked about, um, please, please, please leave us a 5-star review on whatever listening app you're on right now. If you'd like to participate in the show, we'd be happy to hear your input. You can reach out to us at the Patreon, patreon.com/procedurally generated. You can reach out to us on Twitter, PG_show. You can reach out at our personal Twitters. I am CW719. John is John_Carson. Did I get it?
That's right.
Yeah, it's not that hard. I should be able to get it.
It's not.
We have our email at pgshowinbox@gmail.com. Our Discord will be linked below, and you can also comment on any of our YouTube videos, which this will also end up on YouTube.
Please do.
We'd
help the algorithm.
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be great too.
The algorithm. No, sorry, that's the wrong thing. The
algorithm. We already talked about
the first time.
But yeah, we definitely encourage any community interaction. We'd love to see you guys get involved. Again, if it means popping into our Twitch channels as well. I'm CW719. John is.
I'm John Carson Games.
There you go. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know if you'd like to see something different. If you'd like to participate in next month community vote, you got some time to think about it. We'll be putting that up in a couple weeks.
Yep.
We're going to be doing the last show of every month. We'll have a community vote game. So if you want to participate in that, it'll cost you $3 to be a member of our Patreon. So,
yep. So speaking of Patreon, Chris, we took the time to rank them. Now let's take the time to thank them.
Oh, that was nice. That was
yeah,
good.
Right. That's where my mind was at for the last 2 minutes.
Like, don't forget this.
I can't wait. Chris, don't mess this up for me. I need to say it. We need to thank some people.
We should absolutely thank some people. Okay, what do we got? Let's start by thanking Mecha Sprite and Young Hydra, our $25 platinum supporters. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
We have XChin, our $15 gold supporter. Thank you so much.
Thanks, XChin.
We've got Cassidy, Catherine, The Lone Wolf, Tim G, and Tori Glumac. Thank you guys all so much, our silver patrons.
Thank you, Silvers.
And then we have Aussie Gamer, Brandon Johnson, Jason Daphnis, and John Carson.
Wow, what a handsome group of people.
Mm-hmm. Stunning.
Just incredible people.
Yes, thank you guys all for your support. We greatly appreciate it. But that's a wrap. I think we can.
It is.
I think we can stick a fork in her.
I think we can. This unlucky episode's over. Next week's gonna be probably another weird one. We've got some games.
We do.
Yeah. Before we go, I just want to quickly say, make sure you all know what your fire escape plan is. If anything were to happen with fire alarms in your home, know how you're getting out. Know how you're getting your pets out safely with you, and have a good regular warm week inside. It's cold outside, but you want it to be a normal warmth inside.
That's right.
Not a fiery heat. So
I just want to see how much further you're going to go with it.
That's it. That's where I was going.
Oh, okay.
A hellish blaze. We don't want that. just like a 70 degrees.
Yes.
69
Everybody
to 70 degrees.
Be safe. We'll see you in February.
Later.